It's easy, thinking about a feeling like love, to connect it to a place, a situation, a well defined space. It lies there almost spontaneously, as that was its place and always has been. More complex, perhaps because in memories time blends, it fades, it mixes and tricks us, becomes to associate love to a moment. Impossible, or almost so, is to associate it to an absence, a moment which never happened. It's likely because of this that the poetic of Wong Kar-wai catches us unawares and lulls us softly, letting us adventure in a story made up by glances, silences, and absences. Holding our hand, the director guides us, in what is now his most famous movie, In the Mood for Love, into an hyper-conservative Hong Kong during the early 60s, within which relationships between men and women are closely controlled and, in case they were to become sentimental, condemned. It is here more than anywhere else that it's possible to observe how love isn't something which can be located in a place, in this case a claustrophobic apartment shared by entire families from Shanghai, but in time, in a moment, in a breath of existence. The camera crawls, peers, hides, and with it we have the privilege to steal nothing but a few frames from Mr. Chow and Mrs. Chen, two neighbors, strangers at first, who with every glance and every wait become slowly closer and closer until they are necessary one to the other. Love, according to the poetic of Wong Kar-wai, is never put as an objective, as an ultimate goal which moves the characters. The director performs a wonderful job of subtracting elements in his works, as for example Rulfo did in literature with his masterpiece Pedro Paramo. He removes spaces, sentences, entire scenes, and what's left to us is something that resembles a mosaic of moments, sometimes even faked, a mosaic that tricks us, but that is our only window on the two characters' lives. On par with every other neighbor we spy, we steal moments, creating houses of cards and fantasies, relying only on a glimpse. We, as the protagonists, are forced to live off nothing but the present. A glance, a sentence, a missed goodbye. The film lives of these elements as the frames were its breaths, its bumps, and the final result was something beautiful and surprising. Life. Wong Kar-wai whispers us, second after second, fragment of life after fragment, that it doesn't exist anything but this, the present, that now is life, now is love, now is time, and now passes and is already gone, and all that's left to a man who doesn't know how to grasp it is nothing but a secret, to whisper in a crack so that it remains there forever. Like time, within the works of Wong Kar-wai as well as in those of Antonioni, whose poetics is similar, love flows, passes, often without even expressing itself. The characters aren't able to enjoy it. They don't seem able to get over the wall they built by themselves. Absence becomes deafening, and remorse ends up covering every other emotion. The characters end up living off a painful melancholy. Only this time they are alone. They lived in the mood for love, but they never made it theirs. For the entire length of the movie, they have been accompanied by slow music, which hugged them with its bouncing arches and its uninterrupted flute, as a metaphor of unique and unrepeatable moments against the relentless flow of life. The love poetic of Wong Kar-wai is more than a cinematographic experience, an immersion on an alternate reality, infinitely far from us and from our way of seeing things, but that belongs to us nonetheless. The director often forces us to simply be witnesses of life while it unfolds, and to do so through fences, mirrors, and corridors. And every time that the medium through which we look changes, reality changes as well, taking us into unknown paths, so that every one of us interprets what is happening in a different way, a unique one. The movie then assumes an endless quantity of different faces and takes a definitive shape as an emotional journey of the viewer within a time marked by the feeling, which inexorable crystallizes itself, as only what's unlived does. Everything passes, time drags everything with itself, but not love which was unloved, which immovable survives into memory, our memory. We are the crack into the tree or the wall. We are the holders, as Ungaretti would say, of the never-ending secret. It is us, and Wong Kar-wai is whispering it to us, softly.